In a live session that no one saw coming, Andy Smith screamed, cried, and pointed fingers at Erica Mena, accusing her of the ultimate betrayal by sleeping with her man, Mendeecees. As soon as her voice broke and she yelled, "Erica slept with my man," thousands of comments flooded in, and everyone's jaws dropped. Then the Mendeecees, who had been sitting silently next to her, got up and left without a word, and the screen glitched, causing Andy to scream louder, and the entire insiders claimed that the live stream wasn't planned, scripted, or fake. Instead, it was rage, betrayal, and heartbreak that unfolded in real time. Yandy didn't hold back, naming names, dragging receipts, and swearing she'd never forgive either of them. Fans are shocked, confused, and divided. Some say Yandy's finally speaking her truth, while others say it was just Anna Love and hip-hop stunt involving one of the most talked-about relationships on reality TV. I think she's having a breakdown, but there's no denying that this is the messiest love and hip-hop drama yet, and it's only getting started. No one anticipated Yandy's live appearance that night. There were no teasers, no stories that suggested a breakdown. Just a sudden ping, and there she was, face bare, eyes puffy, voice trembling. And fans instantly realized something wasn't right. No filters, no glam, just raw emotion radiating through the screen. Then she dropped the bomb. She looked straight into the camera, took a shaky breath, and said the words that would send shockwaves through the internet. "Erica slept with my man." The live chat exploded. Hearts began to pour in and emojis flooded the screen, but nobody knew what to type. Was she serious? Was she really saying that Erica Mena, the Erica who had recently appeared on a few episodes with her, had crossed that line? Yandy didn't wait for reactions. She continued, her voice rising and shaking with hurt, anger, and disbelief. She claimed that it began with a vibe she couldn't explain, exchanging looks and jokes that didn't sit well with her. She said she brushed it off so as not to come across as insecure, saying, "I'm not the jealous type." Before she even mentioned Mendeecees, he was standing right next to her, arms crossed, Lou down his face, stone cold. I had a gut feeling that something wasn't right. So fans began screen recording, tagging gossip blogs, and sharing the live footage. Within minutes, the video was already going viral. "You're going to sit there and pretend it's not true?" she added. "It was a mistake one night, just one damn night, but he didn't answer." She shook her head and laughed painfully. Then came the part that left everyone gasping. After looking through his messages, Yandy claimed to have discovered deleted texts that had been backed up to this cloud. Between old photos and files, she found flirtatious messages from Erica that said, "You taste better, remember, .e? What the hell am I supposed to do with that?" The night had ruined everything, leaving the fans watching in complete shock. When Yandy yelled and slapped her hand against the couch, Mank finally moved in his seat, but her voice cracked. Yandy was far from finished, explaining how things had been strange ever since that group trip. The one that had been filmed but never aired apparently. The producer scrapped the footage after too much chaos broke out. Yandy claimed that was the trip where everything changed and she was being very touchy with him. His silence was almost louder than Yandy's accusations, and people in the comments were pleading with him to say something. She claimed to have RECA1.D1 the night she went to bed early due to a headache. She whispered Mendeecees had stayed behind with the rest cast, and that's when it happened. The idea that Erica and Mendeecees had done something behind her, back while filming a reality show, was already scandalous, but the way she told it made it feel all too real. He muttered, "I told you already that I don't even remember half of that night," and he turned sharply toward him. "How convenient," she snapped. "You don't remember? Bear, but she does." "Even the position you all were in," Mendeecees rubbed his forehead, clearly uncomfortable. Once more, fans began tagging Erica and demanding an answer. Wendy broke down in tears and said she felt humiliated. "I defend you. I defended both of you," I said. No, not Erica. She's not like that. She's married and has her own mess to deal with. However, I was mistaken when Yandy abruptly raised her phone to attempt to take screenshots. She fumbled, swiped, and threw it to the ground, screaming in exasperation. Min stood up a little to assist, but "She don't touch me," she said, gritting her teeth. And then it happened. Mendeecees got up, looked at her, then at the camera, and without a word, he walked off screen. The door closed behind him with a soft but final thud, and Yandy sat there, stunned. Her mouth slightly open, her hands shaking. "Wow," she whispered. "So that's it. You just got to walk away like you didn't do anything." Thousands of viewers were now watching, some pleading as the live chat went crazy. Yandy leaned back, took a deep breath, and said, "I gave this man everything. I stood by him when he was locked up. I raised his kids. I fought for our family, and this is how he repays me with Erica Mena." Her voice cracked against someone who isn't even stable in her own life. She covered her face for a moment before looking back up, showing a harder expression. "Now, no, you'll deserve to know who these people really are." Entire attitude changed when her phone buzzed and she saw a text. "Oh, now she wants to text me," she said, "but it's too late for that. The world will hear it." She reached down and picked up her phone again, determined this time, and apologized, saying, "Girl, you don't trip and fall into somebody else's man. You made a choice." Fans were consuming every moment of it. It was messy, raw, and full of scandal, the kind of drama that spreads like wildfire across blogs, Reddit threads, and every shave room comment section. She finally let go of everything she had been holding inside for too long. And her voice lowered as she said, "I let you in my house. Erica, you played with my kids and smiled in my face while you were plotting behind my back." She shook her head and wiped away her tears, saying, "I should have known the minute she started calling him bro time. It's a time like we don't know what that fake sister act really means." Her pain was now turning into anger, and fans were glued to every second she said, refusing to believe that for weeks she kept making excuses, blaming herself, thinking that perhaps she wasn't affectionate enough, or that she was too preoccupied with her work. The sound of a car starting could be heard faintly in the background as she was speaking. And Mendeecees was leaving the house as well as the room. Yandy paused to listen, then laughed bitterly, and he was running now, just like always, unable to face the truth. She sat in silence for a few seconds before saying, "I'm not doing sympathy, Samathi. I'm doing this because I'm tired of protecting people who wouldn't spit on me if I was on fire." Suddenly, the elevator plunged further into one of the most chaotic public outbursts that reality TV viewers had ever witnessed. As shocking as part one of her live was, it was only the beginning. The real chaos was yet to come, because just when viewers thought they had heard it all, Yandy dropped another unexpected bomb that completely changed the course of the scandal. Yandy sat there staring into the camera, her face frozen in shock. The comments still pouring in with a support, shock, or shock, and outright confusion. But she wasn't reading them anymore. Instead, she was somewhere else, deep in her own thoughts. And as the silence grew too long, she whispered. Fans were stunned because the couple had always presented a united front despite prison time, custody battles, and all the chaos that reality threw at them. However, Yandy was now removing layers that no one knew existed. It wasn't the first time that the entire energy of the lift shifted. Viewers sat up straighter, jaws dropped, and phones across the nation started recording again. She leaned forward, placing her elbows on her case Aiden, saying it louder this time. "I've been covering for Mendeecees for years." There were other women's faceless names that she had disregarded for the sake of their family's reputation. "I assumed that if I remained silent and showed him enough love, he would stop. But it only got worse, and now he's playing with women that I actually know." She got up and started pacing. Her hands were moving, and her voice angrier, and more angry. "Erica isn't just any girl. I thought she was my friend because she used to call me crying about Safari, her divorce, and everything. I listened and I consoled her, But as I was doing so, she was out there plotting how to stab me in the back. No, you didn't return from that. Suddenly, a notification appeared on the screen, and it was from Erica. Fans went into full frenzy mode, and now it was war. Andy saw it and scoffed. Oh, now she has something to say. I assume she's going to play victim and say that she didn't mean for it to happen and that it was a vulnerable moment. But even with her tough words, it was obvious that the pain was getting to her. Her voice cracked once more as she added, I thought we were sisters. The fact that this made matters worse wasn't just impacting her, was also having an impact on the children. According to Yandy, her eldest child had seen her and Mendeecees argue the previous evening and inquired as to if they were divorcing. How do you explain this to your children? How do you tell them that the man you taught them to look up to is incapable of showing even respect for the woman who supported him through everything? She asked the camera. For a brief moment, her voice broke into cries, but she hurriedly wiped her face in an attempt to gather herself. I cut people off for telling me the truth, and she admitted that I thought they were being messy. It turned out that they were trying to save me. The chat was full of fans offering support, saying things better, you deserve better, and you're stronger. Then this. People in their inner circle had been warning her for months. And one of her friends had even tried to tell her about a party where Erica and Mendeecees were getting too close. But she didn't want to believe it. However, Yandy hardly ever glanced at the TV anymore since she was too devastated to see anything but her own suffering. And then something else happened. She picked up her phone once more and played a voice memo. The audio wasn't very clear, but you could hear a woman's voice laughing as she said something about what happens in Miami stays in Miami. That's her talking about the same weekend they claimed happened? Happened, but she didn't know he saved that voicemail, sent it to joke. As a joke, and he forgot to delete it, said Yandy, looking at the camera. Fans were shocked that this wasn't just drama anymore. It was becoming full-fledged evidence collection. And people in the comments began calling it cheater court and pleading with Yandy to release more information. Receipts, she wasn't even close. She disclosed that after confronting Mendeecees, he had admitted to more than just the Erica situation. He mentioned other people, but I could tell by the expression in his eyes that it had been more than I ever imagined. She paused and continued. How do you sleep next to someone for years and not know who they really are? The live had been going on for almost half an hour, but nobody was clicking off. This was no longer just rumors. It was real-time emotional carnage. She sat down again. She shook her head again, her eyes glassy, and said, I can't do this anymore. The live chat was now asked men he sees had gone. Some speculated that he had driven to Aratha's place, while others said he was probably hiding out with his boys, trying to figure out how to spin the narrative. Her voice was tired now, but it was still full of disbelief. I fought for him, fought judges, lawyers, blog trolls, and trolls, all to protect a man who wouldn't even protect me from betrayal. I told you to keep your man in check, not my fault he wanted something real, she said, as her voice Becca LD. Erica girl, don't think this is over. Don't think you're going to play the I'm broken card again because I've got time. I got the truth on my side. However, just as Yandy was about to end the live, her phone buzzed again and she looked down. Her entire face changed, her eyes widening, her mouth slightly parno. Oh no, she didn't, she whispered. Then she turned the screen toward the camera and displayed a dim from Erica. People couldn't believe the rudeness and arrogance of the live explosion. It was now complete anarchy. Yandy read aloud, her voice shaking. You believe this to be a humor? You think this is funny? She yelled. She hurled the phone across the room when she was playing with my family. She barely missed a lamp, but she didn't care. You're sick, she said in a low, dangerous voice. You're sick, and trust me, this isn't over. You want the spotlight? You got it. She got back up and started pacing again. The room was electric with anger and heartbreak, and everyone was live tweeting every word, screen recording every tear, and breaking down every pause. This was the biggest scandal in love and hip-hop history, and it was happening in real time with receipts, rage, and raw emotion. At last, Yandy took a deep breath, looked straight into the camera, and said, "I need y'all to understand something. This is about respect, not about influence or opinions. And I lost everything trying to protect a man who has never been loyal to me." Her voice dipped to a whisper once more. B-A-N-Y. More. More. Suddenly, the sound of keys jingling at the front door caused Wendy to freeze. Her face tensed and her lips pressed tightly together. She slowly turned her head in the direction of the sound and said, "If that's him, he'd better be ready to explain everything because now the whole world is watching." The camera moved slightly to show Yandy approaching the front door with her, shoulders squared and her posture tense, as if she were preparing for battle. The keys jingled again, and then the knob turned slowly. When the door opened, it was Mendeecees, and he entered as if he already knew what storm was hemming for. The camera stayed on her with tension thick enough to cut with a knife, and then the screen went black for a moment. Fans waited. The comment paused, and then the live resumed just in time for the next shocking moment that no one was prepared for. His eyes instantly locked on the camera, which was still streaming live for a moment. He hesitated a little, as if he was considering running or facing what was about to happen. But Yandy wasn't going to give him a choice. She asked in a voice as sharp as glass, "Mendeecees." Andy tried to speak, raising one hand in a calming gesture, but she interrupted him. "Don't say a word, not a word. The whole internet knows what you did. And if you're going to walk in here and act like it's business as usual, you've lost your damn mind. Please, we need to talk. Not like this. Not with everyone watching," he began after lying for too long, and eventually feeling the weight of it shatter him. But Yandy simply laughed loudly and bitterly, saying, "Oh, now you care about who's watching. You should have considered that before you disrespected me in front of the entire damn world." He attempted to approach her, but she retreated, pointing at the camera. "No, you're going to talk right here. Let the people see the man behind the fake smile and the interviews." DC's love man gazed at the camera, then turned back to her, scratched his face, and then nodded, saying, "You want the truth? All right. Yes, I made a big mistake, but it wasn't what you think," he said, taking a deep breath. "Erica approached me and took advantage of the fact that we were experiencing issues. Don't play the victim. You're a grown man and could have just walked away," said Yandy, rolling her eyes and crossing her arms. Men slowly nodded. "You're right, I could have. But I didn't because I was weak-centered, and I didn't consider the consequences. I just felt like you weren't there for me anymore." Yandy's mouth dropped open, and her voice cracked in shock, saying, "I gave up everything for you, my peace, my name, and my time. And you think you Mendeecees didn't answer?" And the silence was deafening. Wendy shook her head and took another step back. "You know what hurts more than the cheating is the betrayal that you allowed someone. I trusted into your space and let her laugh at me and make fun of me while I was out here defending you to the world." Mendeecees looked down, his voice barely above, a whisper. "I know, and I hate myself for it." He looked back up, saying, "I never wanted to hurt you. I thought it was a mistake I could bury that would never come out, but now that it has." Your forgiveness filled Yandy's eyes once more, but this time with something more than sadness and resentment. "You're damn right you don't." She turned back to the camera and she said, "This man right here just admitted to throwing away our marriage for a few moments of attention. And the worst part is that he still doesn't understand why it hurts men." DC came forward again, this time more desperate, saying, "I get it. I swear I do. I know you don't believe me, but I do. I broke you. I broke us. The air was so charged with emotion that even those watching live were having a hard time keeping up. A comet flew across the screen, with some pleading with Yandy to try to make things better, and others begging her to leave him. However, Yandy was already making up her mind when she said, "I want you out." And then the men blinked. "What?" Yandy repeated louder. "I want out. Take your stuff. Go wherever you need to go. But you're not stay here. Not tonight, not tomorrow, not anymore." Then DC stood motionless, as if his body had just shut down. He didn't argue, he didn't beg, he just nodded slowly. "I'll go if that's what you want," he stated very gently. When he went to the bedroom to get his belongings, Yandy collapsed onto the couch and began to breathe heavily. The camera followed every movement of her fingers and every flicker of her eyes. Then, unexpectedly, her phone rang, and she looked down to see that it was Erica again. This time it was a video call, and for a moment, she just stared at the screen with her jaw clenched. Then she answered against her better judgment. Erica's face filled the screen, smugly composed as Yandy's eyes narrowed as she smirked and added, "You seem exhausted," as if she hadn't just exploded a bomb inside someone's life. "You really want to do this right now?" Erica went in closer to the camera and said, "Don't be upset when I clap back. You started this when you put my name out there." Erica shrugged. If your man was truly content at home, nothing I said or did would have mattered. Blame him, not me. Yandy laughed angrily and clapped back. "You think this is a game? You wrecked the family? Wrecked the family?" Erica rolled her eyes and said, "Please don't think you're the first woman to be cheated on." The call ended abruptly as Yandy hummed up, her hands shaking, and she turned back to the camera. "This woman truly believes she's untouchable, but I can assure you that she's not in the background." Mendeecees reappeared with a small duffel bag, his eyes red, but he didn't cry. He stood by the door in silence, waiting. Yandy didn't look at him, saying, "Don't come back without a damn miracle." The internet wasn't finished yet. Clips were already circulating, memes, reactions, and breakdown videos, and it was all over in a matter of minutes. Mendeecees opened. The door paused and left without saying anything more. The door clipped shut behind him, and something inside Yandy closed as well. She sat in silence for a moment, the weight of everything crashing down, before speaking again in a flat but firm voice. "I'm done protecting people who wouldn't cross the street to protect me." Behind all the noise and opinions, however, there was a woman sitting by herself, staring at the walls of the house that felt strange. She thought back to the beginning, to the love letters from prison, to the family photos, the promises, the public loyalty. A&O did it come this. His. How? Did something so solid rot from the inside? Her phone buzzed again, but it was from her lawyer, not Erica's or Mendeecees'. She stared at the screen, picked it up, and said simply, "Let's talk options." Suddenly, the following chapter in this, every media outlet had picked up the story. Every gossip page was reposting it live, and everyone with an opinion was typing it in the comments, but Yandy wasn't reading any of it yet. She was moving through the house like a ghost, brushing her teeth and washing her face. The next morning arrived slowly. It's as if time itself was dragging its feet through the chaos that had unfolded the end before. Sunlight night poured through the half-closed blinds, slanting on the same couch where Yandy had sobbed herself to sleep. The only thing she had left to do was make coffee on autopilot. Then her phone rang again, but it wasn't Erica or her lawyer this time. She answered with a weary hello, and Mama D's voice came through sharp and loud as usual. "What in the hell is going on?" She asked. "What in the hell is going on?" She let out a feeble laugh, which seems to be the theme today. Mama D didn't waste time listening. "I know things get crazy in this business, but I always knew Mendeecees was. I told you, that man was slick, didn't I? Now that you're wide awake, the question is, what are you going to do next?" You didn't have an answer. Or perhaps she did, but she wasn't prepared to say it aloud. Instead, she changed the topic. "Have you spoken to Scrappy recently?" Mama D clicked her tongue, saying he was going to call you, but I told him to wait and give you space. Scrappy slowly.s. Thank you. I appreciate that Mama D took the time to pause once more. Just know that I've got you covered if that hyper Erica feels she's going to replace you. After they said their goodbyes, Yandy's phone rang again with a message from an unknown number. She clicked it open, and at first she didn't realize what she was seeing. Rini? Black and white security footage from a hotel hallway, and there he was, Mendeecees. A few seconds later, Erica followed, pulling the door shut behind her, and she reached for his hand. He didn't resist, and Yandy's stomach turned. This wasn't just a rumor, speculation, or proof. The phone rang again, and this time it was her lawyer. She took a deep breath and answered, "I saw the footage." But there was a pause before the lawyer could say, "I got it too. And we need to talk because things are about to get very messy." There has already been talk of Erica trying to flip this by saying it was revenge and painting herself as the victim. But with what you have now, we have leverage. Unquestionably raw, she dropped the phone like it burned her. Her hands trembled and she screamed. Betrayal layered on top of betrayal. With a slow nod, she asked, "What's the move?" "A came firm. We file today. Divorce. Proceedings, restraining orders if necessary, and a full media statement to control the narrative before they do. Are you ready for that?" she asked, closing her eyes as prepared as I'll ever be. She hung up, then turned back to the phone, her reflection staring back at screen the scruffy. Yes, Puchept S, chapped soul, tired. But there was something else there too now, fire. Not the kind that burn a control, but control, the kind that forges steel. She got up and went to her closet and took out a sharp object. In the meantime, Mendeecees sat in a hotel room staring at the same footage while his phone flooded with calls from his manager, publicist, and even his mother. He looked broken and defeated for the first time in years, losing control of the narrative, and the people who had once supported him were now questioning everything. Black Blazer did her hair and put on makeup, not for vanity, but for Armorand. Called a press contact to set up an exclusive interview. But she wasn't about to let anyone else tell her story, not Erica Mendeecees or the blogs. Instagram story, "You can't steal what's already broken," was followed by a slow zoom-in of a broken mirror. The comments were ablaze with some praising her bravery and others accusing her of being filthy. But Erica didn't care because she was thriving off the chaos. That evening, Yandy's interview was released in a straightforward setting with soft lighting and no theatrics, just her voice, honest and raw without screams or tears. She told the story exactly as it happened from her perspective, without bitterness or emotion, and that made it even more impactful. "I loved him," Dottie said. "I believed in him." However, love isn't just about a scandal. It's about dignity, knowing your worth, and walking away even when it hurts like hell. The internet went silent, then erupted. Ed. Celebrities as reposted. If fans flooded her with support, #StandWith and Yandy started trending. Even people who had remained neutral were now choosing sides, and the tide had officially turned. DC tried to respond, going live and fumbling through apologies trying to explain, but the damage was done. His words felt hollow. The empire he built on charm and image was collapsing in real time, and Erica tried to prepare for it. She wasn't throwing shots, and she was healing slowly and quietly, surrounded by friends who showed up without cameras, family who reminded her of her strength, and others who reminded her of a peace she hadn't felt in years. However, the story wasn't finished yet, because behind all the headlines and hashtags, behind the fame and the fallout, there was one last twist that no one was prepared for. Saw one that would completely upend everything, and then all of a sudden the truth came to light. But at what cost? Mendeecees is dealing with the consequences of his own actions. And Erica's reputation is in ruins, and fans are still divided and emotional. No one knows what will happen next. Will Erica finally tell the truth? Or has she said too much? One thing is certain, though. This drama isn't going to stop anytime soon. The internet isn't able to stop talking about ITE in every post, every story, and every story. Reaction video is adding fuel to the fire, and just when we think we've seen it all, another twist appears out of nowhere. However, we're curious about your thoughts. Do you think Erica truly betrayed Yandy in that way? Or was this his true self all along? Is there any hope for recovery from this level of betrayal? Or is the damage irreversible? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. We'll read them all. If you're a Team Yandy, Team Erica, or if you believe they're both at fault, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications so you don't miss any updates. I thought this was crazy, but trust us, we have inside information on what's going to blow your head even more. Stay tuned and stay locked for more shocking events and behind-the-scenes disclosures that are about to happen. And as always, I'm grateful for ***.